I said the thing.
So welcome everyone again to Get This Rugby Podcast, mate. We're up to episode 22, our grand final show. How are you, Stu?
Good, man. How you going? Get this?
Get this into you.
Mate, 22 weeks, eh? Jeez. We did every single week, eh?
We did. And, mate, so we're down to the day.
We didn't. Neither of us went out injured at any stage.
Not that I know of.
There was a couple of times I could have, I've got to tell you.
That's it.
I'm sitting here in pain at the moment, actually.
So before we get into it, I wanted to get delve into your mindset for a minute. Like, can you give us your memories of, say, 84 to 86, you played grand finals, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what was the week like leading into the grand final day?
It was probably a little different from each year, but we got done in 84, so we'd done pretty well to get there, and we're every chance of winning that game. Anyway, we didn't. I think going into 85, because we had great expectations of winning, and that's all we wanted to do. That the week coming in, I think we had a fair bit of pressure on us that year that we didn't want to lose again, but the week itself, we didn't train really hard by that stage, and we used to play more games back then. So I think we didn't. It wasn't that physical. We did what we had to do, and then it was basically running what we were going to run that weekend, and scheming a game for Randwick that year. So that was all right, but we had a fair bit of pressure on us for that reason. Just that we had to win it. It was there was no losing that game for us. That would have killed us, and so there was a lot of pressure on. So it was a great relief to win it. But and the second year we won at 86, we'd come from, like, the second half of the year we weren't playing very well, and we came good in the semis. We only just made the semis, and we got done early. Then we ended up flogging Manly in the the final, I guess it was, before the grand final to play Randwick, and we were supposed to get flogged, and so that week we were loose, man. Like, it was, we were pretty relaxed because we had no pressure on us, and we were just going to go out and do business. It was so that week it was pretty relaxed scene that whole week, actually, for 86, and I remember that change room before that game was it was a most calm environment you ever been in. And we were just going to go out there and have some fun and do business, and we just had no fear and no. We run out there laughing pretty much. We all had smiles on our faces. It was just, and we went out there and flogged them. So that was probably the difference in the 2 years. There probably wasn't as much pressure on us the second year. But yeah, and I think this year, I think that's. I think Norths are under a bit of pressure for that reason, and they probably should have won a couple of comps over the last, what we were talking about the other day, last few years, going back a little while till their last one. I suppose they got pressure on that, and especially after losing last year, for that reason. But on the other hand, I think they've come good at the right end, and the way they played last week, I think they'd be pretty relaxed in a lot of ways. I think it's probably East are probably the team would probably be a bit more tense this week, I'd imagine. What do you reckon?
I think we'll talk about that a bit more later, but I've kind of felt that all week, and especially with everyone's making a lot about the 55 years, so East would be thinking, this is their year. But anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Sure.
So let's talk about obviously we had the semi-finals last week, mate. So big games. So we had the double header. So Randwick and North, mate. North.
Hang on, can we just say something about this double header stuff?
Yeah.
I'm not a great fan of it. I just think it mucks everything up because you haven't got all your grades playing. And it's a big day when, there's clubs, different teams, different clubs right through. And that playing Saturday and Sunday was never a hindrance to winning the grand final if you happen to play on the Sunday. And
yeah.
I just don't think it's a good move doing that. But that's just my opinion. And I know a lot of people agree with me. I just think it's not good for the I just like tradition and the way it used to be. And but anyway, apart from that, let's get on with it.
Well, yeah, no, I agree with you because you had bloody lower grades playing all over the place. You had them playing on Sunday. Yeah. And then you're 100% right. But anyway, I guess they've done it now for a few years. So
yeah, well, hopefully they'll change it in future.
Well, who knows, mate? They've got no vision at the leadership. We know that. So Randwick played North, mate. I think it's safe to say that was North's best performance of the year by a country mile.
Oh, easily, mate. They're look. I'll say, like, I think the first show we did, I tipped them to win the comp, and then during the year, geez, they had some ups and downs. But I think getting all those players back, like that have been out with injury, coming back and stuff. They've come good at the right end, and their defence on the weekend was devastating. It was like the Great Wall of China, mate. They were tough in defence, and that's how they played a lot last year, I thought.
Yeah, they were really good that day, and defence was. I'm glad you brought that up because I thought that. At the game, like, wasn't just their defence, but it was the way they were making the defence. Like, for example, Big Hugh Sinclair, mate, every time they ran at him, he was smashing people. They started avoiding him at the end of the second half.
Right. Mate, some of the tackles he made around a ruck that saved potential big plays from Randwick, he was pretty close to being man of the match for me. I thought he just goes about his business, and but around the ruck there, he was just very, very good, and good luck to him. He's had a great career, and he was the business on Saturday, and I just think Randwick played okay. I just think they came up against a better outfit on the day, and I don't think it was just so hard for them to bust North.
Yeah, and I think when I've been thinking about this week, I just felt like Randwick was maybe 5% off this year, probably across the whole year, compared to last year.
Yeah.
And I know, speaking to Hoylesy, he felt that was the case, but he felt like the injuries didn't help during the year, and that's
something everyone's got to get, So.
You got to deal with that. Every team's got to deal with that, but North's mate, you could single out like 8 or 9 players from that game the other day, and like Max Bury was very good.
For sure, yeah.
Harry Bury was good. O'Donnell, the centre, the number 8 Gersikowski, he had a great game.
Well, they're the guys that have really stepped up. Apart from those guys, the 7 and the 8. The 7 who wasn't playing for a long time, and the 8, and the 8 was very good last year. They've really come good in the last month or so, and that Jesus make a difference on the field now, and especially with Hugh Sinclair is there as well. But their front row played really well again. I thought their set piece was pretty damn good.
Yeah, no, their set piece is good. Line out. A little bit hit and miss in the second half, but they was pretty good. Their scrum is really good, isn't it, mate? Like,
oh yeah,
and that's going to be a good battle because East's got a good scrum.
Yeah, the only thing worries me is that when they change their front row, I think it goes back a little bit, but not backwards, but probably standard drops a bit. I suppose it happens everywhere, but that I think. I'd say he'd have they're number one. He's got to be probably, if not the best prop I've seen this year. It would be very close. I think he's had a great year, and he's been the class loose head in the prop for my liking.
Yeah, and he's I think he'll try and play as long as possible in this grand final because they do rely on him. But he's good around the field too, Chew. That's what.
Oh, mate. It's nothing he can't do. I think he's been outstanding this year, and he's been the top couple of props in the comp. He'd have to be.
You know what my highlight last week was? I saw him pick up the ball at the back of a ruck and go the blind side. That reminded me of somebody.
Yeah, of course you do, mate. Yeah, but he does some good stuff, and he's tough, and I think his scrummaging at loose heads far above anyone else in the comp, technique and stuff. He's a Scotsman, right?
Yeah, Scott. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can tell. I think he probably, like, growing up playing over there, and they still got a lot of technique involved over there. We've seen him taking a lot of it out of our game over here, but he loves every scrum, and you can tell. And I think the blokes he's packing against aren't enjoying it quite so much.
No, and you know they were lucky too. Well, not lucky, but it was well managed because his other Scottish mate, George Thornton, he got injured about 6-8 weeks ago, and they brought in this a Kiwi guy, Sifa Amona. He's been good too at tight head.
Yeah.
So they haven't lost much because him and Thornton were a real good pair for a long time.
Yeah.
And Sam Kitchen's been doing well. We've got to.
Yeah, he's had a good year. He's had a good year, and then he got Margin coming off the bench, and he plays well. He's always good to bugger up a couple of lineouts with his throwing, but besides that, he goes well.
Yeah,
but a couple of Randwick blokes, I thought they were a little bit off. Like, I don't know, Randwick looked a little bit flat to me last week.
Yeah.
Like Houston, their skipper has had an outstanding year, and he's a great player, I think. He looked a little bit lethargic. He just looked a bit tired to me. And I think they missed that Ellis, who wasn't on the field from the start.
Yeah.
Because he'd been playing well, and they did some really funny things. Like the hooker gave away some crazy penalties, and he's been good for them all year too. It was they made a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes, but I think that might have had something to do with the pressure Norse was putting them under.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but geez, look, they still, geez, they had a big go, and I thought, they've had a good year. Like, it was always going to be hard to back up, but they gave it a crack.
Yeah, and they were, like I said, I think they were just a little bit off for the whole year, and like they didn't have Ben Houston's brother Angus. He didn't play as well, so that hurt him. He didn't play at lock. He started Porto's young bloke at 7.
Yeah.
I just thought when you have a look at the game overall, I thought Norse had a more impact from their bench as well.
Mm.
Like when you had Margan, you had Brody Lieber, you had bloody Jevons Fellows, Jack Radford. They all came on.
Yeah.
I mean, they had. I mean, like you say, they're probably a bit light on, as you say, in their reserve props, Norse.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
But that's why I think those, like Scott and the other guy, will probably play at least 60 minutes, I reckon, in the grand final if they can.
It's funny, like, when I looked at that game, it looked like Randwick had played the game with extra time the week before.
Yeah.
It really did. Norse looked as lively as I'd seen them all year. It was they just seemed to everything was working for them, and they just seemed really enthusiastic. And it was just Randwick weren't really in the game in the first half. Yeah, it was.
No, I felt like it was almost over at half time. I think it was maybe 20-3 or 20-10 or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to come back in a semi from there, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially the way Norse, they didn't slacken off at all. So,
yeah,
mate, Norse heading in the ground, and we know that we wanted to acknowledge that Hoylesy's finishing up.
Hoylesy,
at Randwick, which is sad, but he'll be back I think he'll be back at a higher level in a couple of years or so.
Yeah, mate. He's done a great job with them. Like obviously winning the comp last year and going close this year, and Randwick are in a lot better place now than when he took over. So,
bloody hell.
Great job, mate. Well done, good bloke, and
good fella.
They'll be all right, Randwick. It'll be interesting to see who they appoint, but I'd suggest it'll probably be someone pretty close to them at the moment. I'd imagine.
Yeah. So just on that, mate, they've announced today they've appointed Sean Byrne, former Randwick player himself.
Oh right, I thought he was. Yeah.
And played 38 games for the Waratahs in the early 2000s, and he played a lot of his career overseas, Bath, Leinster. So he's got a good pedigree, done a bit of coaching around.
After you sent me that, man, I remembered what when I thought about it. Was he on the staff this year?
No, I think he might have been at the Force. I think he might have been at the Force this year. But he's been around coaching for quite a while, so be interesting to see what he does next year. I think he'll keep it going, and a Randwick man through and through. So that's what they.
That's what I meant by it'd be someone close to him.
For
as long as I can remember, Randwick generally always have someone who's had connection with the club,
And so
which is a good thing, I reckon. Yeah.
And just on so I don't know if we've announced it on here before, but we know Phil Blake's going to West Harbour. That's a great signing. And we found out yesterday that Scott Farver's going to Southern Districts, mate. How about that one? That's a big one too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's best appointment South have made for a while, and I'll tell you, Scotty's got the biggest job in rugby in Sydney, I think. And look, he rebuilt Norse back around from about 2010 or whatever it was, and he handed over a team that won the grand final. And he was responsible for getting their Colts going again, getting a school like the CHS kids there, and all those players that came through second and first grade for a number of years there. Scotty Farver had his mitts all over it, and I wish him all the best at South. I hope he does well.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, because when he played, mate, he was known as a bit of a hard man, wasn't he? Like he was a tough nut. So he'll take that into coaching, I reckon.
Yeah. Oh, look, he's had a break from it for a while, so and I know he lives down that way, so that's a bonus for whoever's doing it. And good luck to him. Yeah, go South.
Looking forward to catching up with him, mate. We'll make sure we get to South. We didn't get there this year. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the phone call. I might make a comeback.
Why not, mate? They could do with all the help they can get. So anyway, that was Norse 34, Randwick 17.
Yep.
And then the game later. So what about this game, mate? This was like I didn't watch the whole Randwick North game live, but I watched the East Warringah game, and I was just amazed by this game, the heart that the Rats showed, and nearly pulled it off, mate. And geez, they looked busted in the last 15 minutes, but they still East got it done just.
Yeah, Warringah in that game, I know they kicked a lot of goals. That's fine, but he kicked 28 points, right?
Yeah.
And generally, that should be enough to win you a semi-final. I think the problem they had was when they did have scoring opportunities outside of the penalty kicks, they didn't get over the stripe. They needed to score a try or two without anything to do with penalties, whether he kicks it out or kick a goal. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when they did make busts and stuff, they never finished them off. And they had, I can think of straight off the top 3 or 4 opportunities when they and probably should have converted 2 of those for sure, and they didn't. And I think that's probably where they lost the game. They just didn't take the points when they could have got them try wise. But then again, East defended pretty well as well.
And I guess at the end of the day, you look at 5 tries to 1 and you think, well, bloody, they should have won the game, I suppose. But as you said, he kept knocking over 3-pointers. And I thought, you look at the first try for East was off a charge down. If they're 9, throws the ball back to the 10.
Yeah, that was a gift, and it's not a good way to start a game. And I think, to just some of the mistakes that Warringah made really cost them. And quite frankly, they've been doing that in a lot of games this year, where they'll make 2 or 3, 4 errors that cost them, and that's just something they're going to have to get out of their game for next year to be successful. You can't do things like that, especially in semis. And but overall, look, they've had a great year, and Holmesy's done a great job, and the rest of the coaching staff there and everyone involved at the club. They should be proud of what they've done this year from where they came, and I thought it was a great year for them, really.
Yeah, well, 10th to nearly making the grand final. That's a big bloody.
I'll tell you,
big effort.
Can't that number 10 kick the ball well? Jeez. He's just got such a great, swing, like it just looks like it's effortless. And, he's if he can get his game going up, in other areas in attack and stuff, and do a little bit more around the field, he could go quite all right, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him put into like a professional environment, maybe like somewhere in the Super Rugby side, and just seeing what he could do, whether he could do it week in and week out.
That might ruin him.
Yeah, it might kill him, mate. Might kill his game.
That's ruined plenty of others.
Maybe he's one of those blokes, mate. These days they say to him, maybe go to the UK for a few years or come back a bloody superstar.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, the way he plays the game, mate, he'd probably be good for him to go to Ireland for a couple of years. And he'd be doing a lot of kicking over there. Yeah,
he hits the ball well. It's like a golf swing. It's just he just seems to put no effort into it. He's just got a great technique. He's got and he punts the ball well too. And anyway, but East, I thought all around East, East played pretty well. Like they were under pressure early, but they I don't know. What do you reckon of them?
Well, you know what struck me about East? I thought, like, in a few games this year, they've been slow starters, like they've been behind early. But one thing about them, and I probably got to credit the coach for this, is they seem to keep quite calm. They don't seem to get too flustered about it. Like even at the end of the game, you could see they weren't panicking. They pretty much knew they could get it done. That's how I felt. And I mean, the halfback is such a dangerous player, mate. Like he scored 2 tries. And mate, they're a solid side. I mean, you can say what you want about points and this and that or whatever. But at the end of the day, they just seem to get the job done.
They certainly did. And I think I've seen them rattled on a couple of occasions this year, but I think when you get them rattled, you've got to score points. And I think Manly didn't do that the other week, and Warringah didn't do it when they should have. And I think if you let East stay in the game, it gets hard in the second half because they hang around and they'll keep coming. And that's so if you got an opportunity, you got to take it and try and put them away because they've definitely seemed to have toughened up in the second half of the comp. Although I'm still not convinced by some of their defence, especially around the ruck and stuff. But they've certainly had a great year, and regardless of all the other stuff going on, what can you say? They came first, and they won a lot of games, and they're in the big ones. So well done, great year to all the players and all the coaching staff. That they're where they want to be. So,
and I got a like name. There's 3 blokes I want to really give a shout out to for East. Like the halfback Teddy Wilson, mate. He's going places in this game. Like another 2 tries. He's just very dangerous, mate. You got to watch him because he's always looking. He reminds me a little bit of Josh Holmes when he played, mate. He's always looking for where he could go,
Yeah.
And then Darby Lancaster on the wing, who was in the Wallaby squad before, 3 tries.
Yeah, he's got some toe.
He's got speed, and the big number 8 they got at East. He's a good player. He was actually at 2 Blues last year. I was just told. I didn't realise that.
Oh, what was his name?
George Gibson. He was actually at the 2 Blues last year. So.
Oh, was he?
But mate, yeah, like you say, as the year's gone on, their defence has got better.
Yeah, or needed to.
And I mean, but this week, they're really going to be tested, I think.
I don't think Wilson will. The North's ruck defence is pretty good, and I don't think there'll be too many holes around a ruck that they've sort of exploited the last couple of weeks. So it'll be a lot tougher around there for them this week. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah. So that was the two games, mate. Well, let's move straight into it, and
the big one.
Let's preview the grand final, mate. And like history's being made because it's the first time the two teams have played in the grand final.
That's extraordinary, isn't it?
Yeah. But as someone pointed out to me, they spent a long time in second division, both teams.
Yeah, I suppose. 80s. But being old clubs, I would have thought, back in the day they would have played,
Yeah, it's incredible to think, isn't it?
And
they did play earlier this year. I believe it was round 7. Where is it now? Yeah, they played in round 7.
Only once, right?
Yeah, and East won 37-24. Now I would say, looking at that, that's about the time when North were having a bit of a wobble early season.
Oh, they got real wobbly in a few games mid-season, and they started right, and then they were all over the place there for a while.
And the reason I remember this game too is because North were actually leading 24-19.
Yeah.
And then East scored the last 3 tries of the game to win that game. So,
the teams this week are basically unchanged, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, they are. I'm not sure if they'll change at all before kickoff, but
I'm wondering if Gary Bortz will be on the bench for North.
Geez, I hope so. I think they could do with him.
He brings a lot of enthusiasm and some smarts around the ruck. He's on everything. So 15, 20 minutes of him, can be a handful.
And not just that, Stu. Like the bloke can play hooker, 6, 7, 8. He can play a lot of positions.
Yeah.
So he's worth, if he's fit, I'd be putting him on there.
He wasn't on the bench last week, was he?
No. And you know what? It's an intriguing game because you got 2 coaches looking for their first premiership. Like Benny Batcher's lost a couple of grand finals for Eastwood.
Yep.
And Zach lost last year. Both good young coaches, mate. It's all set. It could be one of the classics.
Well, Easter got nearly every team in the grand final, haven't they?
Yeah, 6 out of 7. Only second Colts missed out.
Oh, that's a big year, isn't it?
And you can't say anything. Like you can talk what you want about points and this that, but that's just a great club effort, really, when you think about it.
Oh, it's one of the best, I suppose. It's you don't hear about that too often, and like you might get 5 teams in the semis, say, or four and a couple of Colts or something, but to make it all through to the big dance, that's it's pretty hard to get them all through, and or most of them. And it's been a great effort by the club. Really big effort, and good luck to them. But I just think this week, mate. This North, if North play like they did last week, I think they're going to be very hard to beat. They just seem so confident in the way they went about business, and that defence, I guarantee you they'll win if they defend like that.
Yeah.
Because they weren't just stopping them; they were sticking them hard, and I think like Hugh Sinclair was sensational, but all of them, their defence around the ruck and everything Randwick threw with them, and some of those plays that Randwick could make busts against other teams, and they just, I just think East are going to have to scheme up something pretty special to get through them. They might have to do a few tricks, I think.
I think North are better in the backs as well. That's what I believe. Max Bury's, he's a real. Well,
yeah, what I liked,
he gets to play.
What I liked last week was the Brewery brothers coming in and taking the ball at first receiver or second receiver, and going forward.
Yeah.
And they were sparking things, and that because the 5'8" tends to shuffle along a lot, and when they got involved, they go forward was there, and that just made it a lot easier for their forwards, like the 7 and 8 to be all over it. Then they were running the ball up there, so I liked the way they played last week. I don't know, this set piece that. I think North might have the advantage in the scrums. Line-out time, I think it'll be pretty close, but North always tend to stuff 3 or 4 up a game at line-out time. And East may have the edge in the line-out by a tad, maybe. But I like the way North competed in every line-out last week, even close to their line, which I think is a good move. Put some pressure on the other team rather than just letting them have it. What do you reckon, Greg? Set piece time.
Yeah, I think North might just have the edge, but I don't think there'll be a lot in it because he's got a couple of big boppers, especially at the prop.
Yeah.
Got some big bodies around the forwards, but both forward packs have got some big men. They could pretty much nullify each other. That's what I'm thinking. And then it comes down to the backs. So then I think North have the edge out wide with Max Bury, O'Donnell. The 2 wingers for North are good. Like East rely a lot on the halfback, the 5'8" and the wingers.
North have got to nullify Wilson, otherwise it'll be a long day for them. So they've really got to be. I'm sure they'll be training this week just to making sure he doesn't run from the back of rucks and stuff like that, especially when he scoots down a blind, sort of throws a dummy and goes. He's guaranteed to do it 3 or 4 times in a game.
Yeah, when you got that defensive system in there at 10, 20, 30, well, that man at the first pillar point, he's got to be looking at the halfback all day. Yeah. Otherwise, he'll go.
Because I think if Norse can take him out of the game, I mean, so he's not doing the things he's been doing, that could go a long way for them to win this game if they can nullify him. Yeah. And I think that'll put a lot more pressure on Bowen and the rest of them. If that halfback's not going, you're not doing the things he's been doing, making breaks and getting them going forward and stuff like that, that could make it very hard for East outside of him.
Yeah, and if they stop Wilson, Bowen, I mean, I don't like to be negative, but I don't think he does that well under pressure. When the pressure's on him, he tends to go to water. So yeah, he'll be hoping that Wilson does play well, because if it's all on him, I think they're in trouble.
Yeah, well, I've seen him get rattled a couple of times this year and in recent games, and when it's not all going his way. And I expect North to come out and really pressure him, just similar to what they did last week. But whether they got the ball or not, I think they might target in around that 10 area too. I think that's where they might run and straight up the guts, just little balls off the ruck. What I liked about them last week, they weren't doing those static runs. They were running onto the ball, and I wish more teams would do it. It's a good way of playing, and that's look. I'm really looking forward to this game. I thought it'd be North and Randwick again. I think I picked that at the start of the year. So it's North and East, which I didn't expect. But wow, I don't know. Who's the ref?
Angus Gardner.
Okay.
So we got the best there.
That's probably good move. And what happens with the linesmen? Do they put those guys into, is the next best ref doing second grade, or is he standing there with a flag in first grade?
No, they're doing. Well, did I send it to you? They're Matt Callahan's one of the touchies, and the two refs from last week, the last few weeks, Callahan and Drew Tonks, they're on the sideline. So.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I think they leave the second grade guys who've been doing it all year. I think that's how they do it.
Oh, right. I think it used to be like they used to do like the next best ref would do second grade and third grade. It went down, but they used to back up and run the line in first, like they do on weekends. Like the second and third grade bloke would be doing the line in first grade.
It's too hard now.
They did like that for a while.
But it's too hard now these days to back up, mate, apparently.
I suppose.
Just like you can't play 80 minutes anymore, I suppose. So I thought, like as we start to get towards the end, but I thought, let's look at some matchups, mate. Like,
yep.
So you got the hookers, Julian Heaven. He played for the Tars most of the year up against Kitchen. That's a good battle. They'll be going pretty hard at each other. Their throws will be vital at the line out.
Yep, for sure.
Obviously, you got Michael Scott for North. He'll be up against Fafita in the scrum, so that'll be a battle.
Yep. I don't think he's lost a battle all year, that fella. So
no, I don't think he has. And there's Hugh Sinclair. He'll be taking on his Tars teammate there for East.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting this week they've put Fergus Lee Warner to number 8 for East. That's an interesting move. I'm not sure what
who'd they move out? So he was second row last week, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So who'd they bring in?
That Gibson's not playing. So Warner's playing 8, and they put that Kiwi guy, Miles Amatissero, who played for the Tars. He's playing. I'll tell you what, looking with him in there, they want to have a look careful with their points because that's an extra tar in the team. So
does it count in the grand final?
Well, I hope so. So that'll be a big one. Like, so if you get Lee Warner up against Gersakowski, that's going to be a battle then.
Well, he's started coming good this part of the year, and the other battle's going to be the 2 sevens, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Charlie Gamble's played well for East for quite a while.
On that team sheet, remember I told you the guy that Norse brought on as a replacement at 6, can't remember his name. He looked like he'd done his shoulder or his arm or something. He couldn't shake hands after the game and it was dangling. He came on at 6 as a replacement.
Yeah, Brody Lieber. I'm not sure what the status is there, mate.
Mate, because he didn't look good at the end of the game, and it'd be a shame if he's missing because I think he went pretty well.
Was that last week or the week before? I think it was a week before he got hurt.
No, it was this week.
Was it this week, was it?
Yeah, he came on. He I think he got hit he threw a ball inside for a try, I think, and he got snotted and he did come on. And I thought it might have just been a stinger, but the rest of the game, his arm was sort of dangling, and the end of the game, he couldn't shake hands with it. He was using his left hand.
So
it didn't look good. And I thought,
right,
that'll be a loss. And I'd suggest if he's out, I think that'd open the door for Boards, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah,
because they brought on the little fella came on at 7, didn't he? Or 6. I don't know which way they did it. I can't remember.
Yeah, Jevons Fellows came on.
Yeah, he came on. Yeah, it's not much of him, but he's on the ball.
He's a good player.
Yeah,
so obviously we've talked about Teddy Wilson, the North 9 Frostwick. He's a good player as well. So
he's just been solid, hasn't he? He's doing what he has to do.
Now I would argue these two blokes got the most pressure in the grand final would be Jack Bowen and Jude Gibbs, mate. It'd be hard to argue, wouldn't
it? Yeah. Gibbs played a bit better last week, I thought, but I still wish he'd take the ball forward. He tends to take 2 steps. He doesn't hit. He stands still and takes 2 steps sideways and throws the ball. Like if he took the ball forward, just run onto it. Then throw your pass. It's pretty easy for defences to know where it's going because he's pointing that way and can give it that way. And but he did play better. He kicked a lot better, I thought.
He kicked
the
6
semi.
From 7.
He didn't make the characteristic errors he's been making this year with kicking the ball out dead or not putting it out. And he kicked the goals. I think he might have kicked every goal last week. I think
he might have missed one.
Missed one, did
6
he?
or 7, I think it was. So
yeah,
that was good
because he's got a bit of making up to do for last year, missing a sitter.
Yeah, he'll be hoping he gets that chance again, I suppose, to put that to bed in his own mind. I don't know.
I believe it's supposed to be a pretty warm day as well.
It's going to be late 20s, I reckon. Bloody hell.
Yeah, geez, how hot it's been. And I think
so you got
going to be real hot tomorrow. I think it's going to be a little bit cooler Saturday. I was watching the Weather Channel before. But, Leichhardt Oval, it'll be interesting to see what sort of crowd they get there.
That's it. So you got
at least they've got every team in, so they'll probably have a few buses running.
I'd say so.
most of the East Blokes, they would, I don't know, it's like everyone. How do you find a place? How do you get there? It's I just think they've got to change this next year. I just don't get it. I really don't.
Well, they're talking about knocking the joint down, so hopefully this is the last one.
Yeah.
I don't know when. Yeah. What about so Derby, Lancaster, Reese, Mau? That's a good battle. They'll probably play opposite. I think he'll probably be up against McDonough because they'll play opposite.
Goodall's playing, isn't he?
Yeah, so Goodall and Harry Bury. Now, if you looked at that from an outside, you'd say, well, that's a problem for Bury. But Bury's a tough little bugger. He'll tackle all day.
Mate, no way. I think he'll handle him running it because all he'll do is run straight and hard. You know, I can tell you what he's going to do right now. And that'll be no problem for him. And the only problem I'll have is if he's running a Gibbs. But what they've been doing is bringing the other Brewery up, and he tackles well, or moving the inside set of the 5'8", and they've been dropping Gibbs back in defence because there's not much of him. And look, if East just play that way, just knocking him up the middle, they want to be careful because I think Norse will read that and handle it pretty well.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be worried about that. I mean, the battle of the fullbacks to me is a non-event. You got Max Bury and like East have got Chris Bell from Eastwood, but all Chris Bell does pretty much is kick the ball, mate. So it's not really a contest, is it?
No, well, Brewery's been he's just been injecting himself into everything, and he's given him a spark, that's for sure. And thank God they didn't send him away for some Mickey Mouse tour with the Force.
Well, apparently that's still they still don't know whether that's going to happen. But surely they're not going to do it now. But I don't know, mate. Fuck.
They wouldn't have named the team, would they? They couldn't do that. That'd just be cruel and stupid, I think.
Well, it'd knock the stuffing out of North too because they're going to lose 2 players if that happens.
He can always fly over to join the tour after the grand final, and he's better off playing rugby than going to a glorified training camp in South Africa.
Well, that's what I would have thought. Yeah. Like even if they said to him, mate, lay off the drink too much and get on the plane next morning. So what?
Yeah, mate, you'll be right. I couldn't see him taking him out now. Would have heard about it, I reckon.
So I think, mate, I think you can tell who I'm tipping for the grand final.
That is a Norse hat, isn't it?
Norse hat. I got given this a few years ago. But, I'm definitely not predicting an easy win.
I don't think it's going to be an easy game. I'd say at half time it'll be really close, and I just think Norse I just like the momentum they had the last 2 weeks, and it's funny. Like we were talking with Parksy a few weeks ago about anyone could win it. You just got to string 3 games together, and most of the teams, actually, apart from East, and Norse had come good late. They're probably the only 2 teams that have strung 3 games together. So it's going to be, this is the big one for both of them, the 3rd game. So Norse have won most of their last, the last section of the season, and East were the same. And interesting, they only played each other once.
Yeah.
That was at East too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always a big advantage playing there. I'm going Norse, mate. I just think I just really like the way they played last week, and if they can reproduce even 90% of that, I just don't know how you can beat them on that form. The question is going to be, can they do it, and what are East going to do to stop them? But look, I'd say Norse in a close one.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, mate. And I just don't. I agree with you in a way because I can't see how East play the way they've been playing recently and beat them. They're going to kind of have to come up with something different. I think they're going to have to change the game plan a little bit. I don't think roll and mauls against North are going to work too well. Not with Sinclair.
They defend them really well. Probably the best in the comp at defending them.
I think mistakes are going to be the key. If you don't make mistakes, puts the other team under pressure. But I think North should get it done.
Last week in that North and Randwick game, I'm hard pressed to remember North making a mistake in that. There was only, if they did it was only a couple. And that's how you win big games. So, yeah, I'm going North in I'd say it'd be less than 5 points probably.
Yeah, I think it could be close. I think North will probably try to jump out early and get a lead. And they're better at defending a lead than a lot of teams. I don't think fatigue should be a problem.
Nah.
They've had a full week
right.
now.
Grand final, you'd be right. It's if they're going to have fatigue, it would have been last week. And
I mean, half the East teams have been playing since bloody February or something, so they should be fit. So.
Yeah, that'd be right. I'd suggest both teams probably would have had pretty easy weeks of training. They'd probably train tonight, but they're probably just having a team run, and that's probably about the end of it.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. We might just quickly touch on, mate, because I know we don't do a lot on lower grades, but
we'll
just quickly touch on it. So second grade, obviously East are in all of them. East play Manly in second grade. Now this is an interesting one, mate, because Manly beat East in the first final.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And beat them during the season, even though they finished sixth. They probably think they're a fair chance of winning that grand final, I reckon.
Well, you would, wouldn't you?
They feel like they got the wood over, and they had a good win last week as well.
Who'd they beat last week, Manly?
They beat Gordon. It was like they scored over 50 points.
Really?
54-31.
Oh, okay.
East beat Randwick. So that's second grade. So I think that could be a good game.
Yeah. Who's thirds?
Thirds is East and Randwick. They've been the two best teams all year by a long way in that grade.
Yeah.
Fourth grade is the same as first grade. East.
Yeah, North are in
that North.
As well, aren't they? Yeah.
Now this is an interesting one because North have been trying to win fourth grade, I reckon, for about 12 years and haven't been able to get there. They've lost a few grand finals. So we'll back the boys in here.
I always see them across the road in Percy's when I rock up at the ground. They usually finish playing and getting on it. And
you know what? There's a bit of I don't know. You probably didn't know the bloke with Nobby Osborne, who was a North legend. He coached. His young bloke played for North, and he coached fourth grade for a long time.
Yep.
He coached fourth grade the last time they won the comp, they won the comp 1994. He was the coach.
Okay.
He passed away this year, so I think there'll be a lot of emotion around that game.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet.
And Colts play on Sunday, mate.
So Sunday's the Colts. So where's that at?
That's at Coogee.
Yeah, right.
So now first grade Colts East play Gordon. Now Gordon have never won first grade Colts. Can you believe that?
No, I don't. I swear they had some good Colts teams back. In the early 2000s and stuff. They when they had a good first grade team as well. But so it's Gordon v
East
in
first grade. And Gordon they've lost 3 grand finals in that grade, but never quite.
Geez, I would never have picked that, mate. Fair dinkum.
Second Colts is Sydney Uni and Randwick. So Uni was minor premier, so that's a.
They were there all year, weren't they? They were pretty strong.
Very young side too. Apparently, most of those uni guys are like 19. They're very young. So obviously, there's a line in the future there.
Uni's first grade team made the semis too, didn't they?
First Colts did, yeah. And third grade Colts is East and Sydney Uni as well. So
all right.
I'd say Uni's got a crop of really young guys coming through there.
They've got it. Yeah, they picked their. So Uni and East, so.
Yeah, so,
That's amazing, isn't it? Every grade except for one.
Mate, what would happen if East won 6 grades? I mean, there'd be bloody party going on there for a month.
Mate, I'd say that'd be probably a record of some description.
It'd have to be, mate. I don't remember. I mean, I remember in 2013 when Uni and Eastwood played every grand final in grade. But I've never seen. I don't remember ever seeing 6 teams.
I don't think. Not too many clubs have won the 4 grades either in one day. I don't think.
No, I think maybe 3. But I don't think anyone's ever won 4.
I'd be surprised if they have.
Yeah.
I think
mate, if you're a rugby fan this week and you like grand finals, it's in your book.
It'd be a good idea if Stan put the Colts on a Sunday. I don't know if they are.
I'm not sure, mate.
Well, that'd be.
I did hear somewhere they might be.
That'd be really good for rugby if they put that on the telly on Sunday, and the young players and just be good all round. I think everyone could have a look at what's coming through, and I reckon a lot of people have watched that.
Actually, now that you mention that, I was just remembering something from today. Where is it? I saw something today. The Leichhardt Oval. Can you believe fourth grade starts at 8:40 on Saturday? Can you believe it?
I think when you sent me something, I looked at third grade starting at 10, and I had a feeling fourth grade might not have been on because it was that early.
So here we go. So
that'll be the only time you can get a car park at Leichhardt Oval. It's 8:40 in the morning.
So first grade Colts is on Stan on Sunday. That's good, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
Just first grade.
Yeah, just first grade Colts.
Oh, good on them. Well, at least it's something. That's great. Someone was listening to me at Stan. They did that really quick, eh?
I just noticed it. I didn't notice it before, but yeah, they've got Stan Sport.
Oh, good.
So hopefully
that's just a good move for rugby, and good luck. That's a good move from Stan. Well done.
Nothing against East, but I'd love to see Gordon win first Colts this week. That'd be
right.
That's one wish I'd have. I'd have that one.
Yeah. Right. How did they finish in the comp, those two?
So they weren't. So East were minor premiers.
Right.
But Gordon were like third, I think.
Right.
Yeah, Gordon finished third, so still 14 wins. But East had 17 wins out of 18 in that grade, so they're going to be tough to roll.
Yeah, but in first grade Colts, to make the six, you had to win like 12 games or something, didn't you?
Yeah, well, yeah, 6 was 11 games. That's a lot of wins, isn't it? So
yeah, at 18, yeah.
Like South won 10 games and they missed the final, so 10 out of 18, you would have thought you had a pretty good season.
Yeah, so the top teams obviously were far ahead of the bottom teams in that comp. Yeah, the bottom three teams hardly won a game, did they?
Yeah, well, West Hunter and Two Blues won 5 games between them. So
yeah, so that's you've got to do something about that. It can't go on like
that. Yeah. So anyway,
all right, mate. Well,
that's us.
We're going to do a show to wrap the grand final up next week.
Well, we'll do a review next week, and then I thought maybe we'll talk about it. But I thought the week after that we might even do a review on each club.
Yeah, good idea.
And we might even try and get a guest on if we can.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. You know, I'll be away in early October. When I get back, we'll start our Heroes podcast, mate.
No worries, mate. All good. All right, we're done. Hope everyone enjoys the grand final this weekend. Get into it.
Yeah, and remember to like and subscribe our page, share it everywhere. We'll be back next year, bigger and better.
Yeah, look out.
Can't guarantee we'll be better looking, but we might be.
Mate, I'm working on it.
Trying to get younger, mate. Not working.
Yeah. Try not to get older. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, that's a good last message for us, mate. What Clint Eastwood said. How do you stop getting old? He said, "Don't let the old man in."
That's it. We got it.
That's what we
No worries. All right. Thanks, folks. See you later.
Get this.
It is.
We'll stop this.